is the 6th year of the 31st millennium. The dream of the Great Crusade has been crushed under the heels of the arch-traitor Horus. Terra has sent its retribution fleet to the Istvan system to bring Horus to heel for his betrayal. However, everything was not as it seemed in the fleet. 4 of the legions present had secretly pledged their fealty to Horus. When their betrayal is revealed, the Loyalists are besieged on all sides and crushed beneath the weight of Horus's treachery. Although the Loyalist legions are nearly destroyed, not all of them are wiped out. The stories of those survivors are numerous, and the damage they caused to Horus and his traitors aids the war on Terra in many indirect ways. This is the story of some of those survivors.
Hey all, Dirk here from Dirk's Dystopia. We're here filming the inaugural Zone Mortalis battle for the channel, which I'm pretty excited about. What we're going to do is, this is the lead off to a campaign. The Iron Warriors are trying to take over a Salamander's ship. There's some story behind it you'll have up to this point, and this is them trying to establish a beachhead on the ship. So it should be pretty bloody. Looking forward to killing some little plastic marines.
That's right.
Thanks.
The Coruscare, a Salamander's battlecruiser, is waylaid by a freak warp squall en route to Istvan 5 to rendezvous with the Loyalist Retribution fleet. The ship translates into the Istvan system after the massacre is underway. Several of the ship's systems are malfunctioning, including the long-range Auspex scanners and void shields. The Vox systems are only working intermittently, but one word is frequently repeated: betrayal. As the Salamanders struggle to get their systems back up, the short-range Auspexes pick up a disturbing signal: incoming boarding torpedoes with an Iron Warrior designation. With no other recourse, they prepare to repel boarders.
Cataphracti. Terminator Army's got a combi weapon, Volkite, and a Thunderhammer. He is wearing the mantle of the Elder Drake, so he is Eternal Warrior. Right behind him, you have a Primus Medicae, and then his guards, the rest of the Cataphracti squad, standard loadout, heavy flamer, 2 chain fists, 2 power fists, and the sergeant has a power sword. Moving over, we have a Contemptor Dreadnought, carries pattern autocannon, assault cannon, thanks. We'll get that. And then a heavy flamer in the fist. We have a 5-man support squad, flamers. Pretty simple. All of my sergeants have artificer armor, including him. We have a 12-man tactical squad, power fist on the sergeant and artificer armor. They do have an apothecary who is not in artificer armor. And we have 5 pyroclasts. The sergeant has a power fist, and then finish it all up, a 10-man tactical squad, power fist on the sergeant, artificer armor, and an apothecary. I am running Salamander's Rite of War. It is not going to help me today. I get moved through cover and mastercrafted melta-guns, which I have none of. So that's the army for the day, and we're going to bring the Iron Warriors over and get them on now.
The Obdurate, an Iron Warrior strike cruiser, was badly damaged during the initial Void engagement over Istvan 5. Most of its hangar bays were unusable, so the full complement of its Astartes were not sent down to the drop site. For what Perturabo considered a failure, the Obdurate was banished to patrol the outer fringes of the war zone on picket duty. After hours of silence and brooding, the Obdurate detects the Coruscare ripping its way back into reality. Noting the ship's malfunctioning systems, they quickly formulate a plan to rid themselves of their crippled ship and get back into Perturabo's good graces. Sirens sound throughout the ship as menials cower from the Astartes running to the gunnery decks and the waiting boarding torpedoes.
Alright guys, so yeah, this is my Iron Warriors. We're starting off here with one of my Iron Circle Domitar. I call him Baby Ruth because he's calling the shot. And he is here to be the bodyguard and enforcer for my Warsmith, who is actually he's the same model as what Dirk is bringing for his Praetor. So we're going to have a game of who wore it best.
Right.
My Warsmith is running around with kind of the same loadout: mastercrafted Thunderhammer, Cataphracti armor, Cortex controller, so he can keep the Domitar in focus, and the combi Volkite, which will probably not do much, but we're going to shoot at somebody.
I like to shoot at every game anyway.
That's right. So next off, we got some Tartaros Terminators, 6-man squad, 3 with combi, melta, and power fists. The power fist and auto cannon, and then 2 guys with lightning claws, just in case I get into hand-to-hand with some tactical marines.
Just clean house.
Yeah. They're kind of my take-all-comers unit. And then we always, of course, always bring the Tyrant Siege Terminators. Obviously, these guys aren't the Forge World ones. They're the plastic ones that have kit bashed, and then use the Forge World shoulder upgrades for the Terminators to make sure that they look very Iron Warrior-y. And they're going to blow lots of stuff up, hopefully.
They will. Probably a Contemptor first turn.
That's the plan. And then we have 2 squads that are pretty much identical, 20-man tactical squads, each with a Sergeant and Artificer armor. This guy's rocking the Power Axe, and my boy over here has the Power Fist. And that's the army. So we're hoping to take up a lot of board space and bolter a lot of people down.
Nice. And I forgot earlier, that's Tony. Tony's my buddy. He's running the Iron Warriors today. This is his awesomely painted Iron Warriors. So, looking forward to dying in droves to them.
That's right. Iron within, iron without.
Right.
Metal screeched and lumens flickered as the boarding torpedoes tore their way into the auxiliary hangar bay. The Salamanders braced themselves for the coming storm as Iron Warrior Legionnaires disgorged from the boarding torpedoes. The hangar bay was rapidly filled with gritty metallic forms holding bolters and staring menacingly into the flickering haze. One shape stood out from the rest, a large hulking brute holding a massive hammer, a shoulder-mounted bolt cannon whirring back and forth as it sought targets in the gloom.
Alright, here we are all deployed on the battlefield. This is set up that this is a kind of a landing bay that the Iron Warriors have breached to try and establish the beachhead on the ship. The Salamanders are back here, ready to try and hold them off. We are playing the Void Strike mission from Book 3. This is the like I said, establishing the beachhead. So we've modified it slightly. I was supposed to be able to roll and potentially deploy in the center area. I think it just fits better. My Salamanders are a little confused. They just showed up in the Istvan system. Iron Warriors are boarding their ship. It doesn't really make any sense. So I'm kind of playing on the back foot. I'm also not going to try and seize the initiative. Iron Warriors do have first turn guaranteed, which he knew when he deployed. I think he knew when he deployed. So that is the battlefield there. There is a row of doors through the middle. So essentially it's sealed off because that would be open to the void. So that's where we are. We'll be back with Iron Warriors turn 1. Alright, Iron Warriors turn 1 turn summary. Everybody moved up the board. The 2 tactical squads moved up 6 inches and advanced. Not real far, but enough to get next to the doors or near the doors. The Tyrant Siege Terminators blew their 10 missiles down the hall. There is now no longer a door here, and they're ready to come on through. The Tartaros Terminators with the autocannon tried to do the same thing and failed, so they will be moving up later. So that is Iron Warriors turn 1. Moving on to Salamanders turn 1.
The Iron Warriors advanced as one. The Tyrant Siege Terminators from Soad Alpha let loose a devastating volley from their shoulder-mounted Cyclone missile launchers, and when the smoke cleared, the access hatch for the main corridor to the hangar bay was a twisted wreck. Impacts and explosions sound across the rest of the hangar bay, but all of the other hatches stand firm.
Salamanders turn 1 summary. Pyroclast moved up, ran up, just trying to get closer to these guys so they can do some Melta shots when they get charged. Cataphracti moved up. They don't run, so they just shuffled around the corner and stood there. He made pot shots down at the Domitar, and the Domitar made, I got 3 hits. The Domitar made all the saves. I got no rending, so that's that. Tactical support squad moved and ran up. They're just trying to get out of the way for the tactical squad to move through, who decided they didn't actually want to move when the run move came. I rolled a 1 and Salamanders are at a -1. So they are staying right where they are. Coming back with Iron Warriors turn 1.
Stoic beneath their helmets, the Salamanders advanced forward. The ancient brother Valkoth in his Contemptor shell tried desperately to sift through the incoming data strains to formulate a firing vector on the advancing Iron Circle Domitar construct. Unfortunately, Valkoth was still working through the fog of stasis sleep, and his shots ping harmlessly off the construct's solid armor.
All right, so Iron Warriors turn 2 recap. They definitely made some headway. They pinged some shells down the hallway and took 2 hull points and they stunned the Contemptor with extra armor, so he's shaken. Snap firing this turn, so he's pretty much neutered. I managed to kill 1 of the autocannon in Overwatch with the Pyroclast, but then they just came in and wrecked everything else. I think they... actually, the Melta killed the Sergeant and 1 other one, and then the Overwatch...
killed 2 of mine.
Killed 2?
Yep,
You had 6 of them. Yep, killed 2 of them. So there's that, and then over here, the tactical squad came up and just wiped out the Flamer squad. They didn't even stand a chance, both in shooting. I think they lost 2 in shooting, and then the other 3 were just wiped out in combat. Yep. And we did lose 1 Marine in that squad from fire from the large squad over there. So that's the end of their turn 2. Now it's Salamander's turn 2.
Across the hangar bay, almost as one, the Iron Warriors access the hangar bay doors and run a compulsion protocol, overloading the door's cogitators and forcing them open. Advancing through the newly opened hatches, they unload withering bolter and missile fire on the Salamanders, generating multiple casualties across several squads, including a few hits on Ancient Valkoth that managed to damage critical systems. Seeing an opportunity, several of the Iron Warrior squads break into a charge to push the advantage that their brutally effective fire created. Their charge paid off as they weathered the brutal flame wall and wiped out the Salamander's support squad.
Alright, so Salamander's turn 2 recap. Pyroclast took out 1 Tartaros. Tartaros took out 1 Pyroclast. They're kind of having a slap fight over here. This is the Cataphractii charged in. They did not do well. His Praetor challenged. My Sergeant accepted and died just, though. And then I lost 1 more Cataphractii Terminator to the Damatar. And then this... we traded.
Yep, as a push combat.
As a push combat, we actually both killed our sergeants.
Yep, and 1 regular guy each.
Yep. So that's that mess over there, and we're coming to Iron Warriors turn 3.
All forces in Sector Beta through Omicron converge on Hangar Bay Theta. There are massive Iron Warriors forces boarding, voxed Captain Neven. Silence hissed in response. Vulcan, take these malfunctioning systems, he spat. The Salamanders, indomitable as always, advanced despite the casualties and prepared to bring retribution to the trespassers. Despite their unflappable character and the violence of their return fire, the Iron Warriors' casualties were minimal. Captain Neven ordered his elite Terminators forward into the Damatar Brute while he went to investigate the right flank that his Pyroclast squad had disappeared into.
Alright, Iron Warriors turn 3 recap. It's looking grim for the Salamanders. This Pyroclast here is still alive, somehow. And then the Damatar is gone, but so are a fair number of the Cataphractii Terminators. Dreadnought is down. He only had the 1 hull point left. We traded some wounds here. I did lose by 1, but they made their leadership and stayed. And they're advancing up there. So that is Iron Warriors turn 3. Now on to Salamander's turn 3.
Yeah.
The Salamanders were reeling, and the Iron Warriors could see it. Just like the forces on the surface of Istvan 5, the Salamanders couldn't quite comprehend the depth of the betrayal, and the Iron Warriors were quick to take advantage of their hesitation. They advanced through the right corridor and pushed their advantages across the rest of the bay. The Salamander's Terminators managed to rip enough systems out of the hulking Damatar to render it inoperable, but Warsmith Dargar stepped out from behind his inert bodyguard and bashed several of the Salamanders to the ground. The Primus Medicae tried to aid the fallen Terminators, but the Warsmith's Sunderhammer did too much damage for him to repair.
Alright, Salamander's turn 3 recap. Somehow this Pyroclast is, it's actually, at this point, I wish he would die so my Praetor could charge in and deal with things. Yeah. His Praetor did wipe out my Primus Medicae and my last Cataphractii Terminator. I won combat there, but you made your morale check, and then I killed a couple of Marines from my outflanking, or my reserves coming in from the side over there from bolter fire. Actually, I killed a fair amount, including his sergeant, his artificer armor sergeant. So that's the end of Salamander's turn 3.
On the other side of the hangar bay complex, Fox traffic worked enough for a Salamander tactical squad to show up and engage the Iron Warriors with bolter fire, managing to slay 3 of the warriors, including a deadly shot through the eye lens of the sergeant. The large melee in the center continued swirling in a chaotic mass. The Salamanders were able to use the tight passageways to their advantage and prevent the Iron Warriors from bringing the full weight of their numbers to bear.
All right, turn 4 recap. We combined it because there's a lot less stuff going on. Starting here, the final Pyroclast finally died on his turn, and then my turn, my Praetor charged in. Took 2 wounds to Power Fist, but wiped out the squad.
Yeah.
The Tartaros, or the Siege Terminators are moving over that way in case that combat goes south. They can back up the Marines. The Praetor is moving up. No, he's not a Praetor. He's a
Warsmith.
Warsmith.
But it's an upgrade to a Praetor.
Oh, it is. Okay. All right.
Yep. It's a free upgrade to the Praetor.
This is. I think I killed one, and lost none in return.
And they held.
Yep. And then
over here, I killed one.
Right. And killed none in return.
Yep. And they held.
Because his Power Fist has rolled 3 ones now to wound. So yeah, we need to get that one fixed.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the end of turn 4 for both of us. Turn 5 up next, potentially the last turn of the game.
Sweet.
The Iron Warriors pressed the thinning number of Salamanders on all fronts. On the right flank, the Iron Warriors shot and charged into the newly arrived Salamander tactical squad, doing some damage but not enough to swing combat in their favor. Again, the cramped passageways allowed the Salamanders to dictate the fight, and they were able to keep from getting swarmed by the Iron Warriors. On the left flank, Captain Deven arrived too late to save his Pyroclast squad, but enacted Nocturne's revenge on the Iron Warriors Terminators, taking a few hits in the process. With their momentum stalled, things started to turn against the Iron Warriors. On the right flank, the Salamanders managed to use the restriction of the passages and their detailed knowledge of the ship to rout the Iron Warriors' tactical squad. They consolidated their position towards the swirling mass of combat in the center. In the center of the hangar, there was still a massive chaotic surge of chain blades and bolt pistols. In the confusion, the Iron Warriors didn't notice the newly arrived tactical squad, and the additional weight of bodies caused them to fall back towards the hangar bays.
All right, we're back, and the camera is crooked, but that's all right. So we totaled up the victory points, and it was a 5-4 game in the Iron Warriors' favor. It was a close game. It felt a lot less close through the game, but then once we got to the end and totaled everything up, yeah, it was pretty good. And then we brought some units just to have a little chat about. Why don't you go ahead since you're the victor?
Yeah. So first off, I brought up my Warsmith. I felt like he wore it better today.
He did.
Between him and the Iron Circle, they were able to hold the front and get through those Terminators, which is pretty huge. Because I think that if these guys had folded there, the rest would have fallen apart.
Yeah.
A lot quicker.
Yeah, I agree.
And then also just the Noble Space Marine. Obviously, I like my tacticals quite a bit. And I think that they did a good job today. Couldn't quite break through far enough, but they held the line and kept things bogged down, which is what I wanted them to do.
Yeah. And then I brought my Pyroclast. They didn't do anything like spectacular. They killed 2 Tartaros on Overwatch, but then they just stood there for 4 turns and they took a beating. But they stood there long enough for the Praetor to show up, who just wiped the Tartaros squad. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the way they performed. I mean, they didn't do Pyroclasty kind of stuff, but they did what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. And then I brought my second tactical squad, 10-man with Apothecary. They showed up when they needed to. I thought it was late, but they showed up and came through the door, held that 20-man tactical squad back, and then wiped them. Yep. Sweeping advance took them out, and then they came in and essentially wiped the other one because they were fleeing at the end,
Yep.
right? So they swung the other combat. So yeah, tactical squad, pretty happy with that actually. Once the sergeant figured out his issues with the power fist, he had to do some tinkering on the fly. But once that was done, it worked pretty well.
For sure.
So yeah, thanks for coming. Like I said, Tony's agreed to do more of this. I haven't actually asked him after the battle. He agreed before the battle, so we'll see. But essentially what's happened now is that the Iron Warriors have established a beachhead on the Coruscare, which is the Salamanders strike cruiser. And so we will be playing some more Zone Mortalis missions in a campaign style to see. In fact, we may do some fun stuff. I'll talk to Tony. We may do some fun stuff where the Praetors may upgrade because they both survived.
That's cool.
Just kind of goofy stuff like that. There's some charts in the Victory's Vengeance that work. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all the fun stuff. We appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to more in the very near future. Thank you.
The Salamanders fought valiantly, but in the end, they were not able to secure Hangar Bay Theta. The Iron Warriors had their beachhead on the ship and were now able to easily coordinate reinforcements. All units converge on the Engineerium, Warsmith Dargar growled. We must disable their engines before the cowards flee.